As we take a moment to pause, lying here on our back, let's check in with our body. Check in with how it feels. Check in with the shape. And bring our awareness to our breath. So our breath lengthens. And each inhale and exhale gets just a little bit longer than our relaxed breathing. Feeling our breath get active. And on our next inhale, let's lift our arms up and overhead. Drawing our arms back behind us, just to a place that feels comfortable for you. You need to take your arms wide, take them wide. Feel the front of your ribs hug down. Feel your head relax. Checking in with the alignment of our head, neck, and shoulders. Noticing the length through our upper back and the sides of our shoulders, sides of our ribs, the sides of our upper arms. And bending our knees one at a time. Keeping our arms back behind us. Let's inhale, lift our hips up off the mat. And exhale, lower our hips down. Inhale, lift our hips back up. Exhale, lower them down. Inhaling, lifting. Exhale, lower. Continuing to flow. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And lift our arms up, draw them back to our side. We're going to open our arms out like wings. Lifting our hips, draw them over to the left a couple inches and lower them back down. Extend our right leg forward and then lift our left foot up off the mat, but we're going to tuck it behind our right knee as we lower our left knee over to the side. I'm going to take a moment to hold, keeping our left shoulder on the mat. Feeling our heart opening, mainly on our left side. Honoring the shape of our body. And from here, we're going to flow. So we're going to lift our left foot, let it hover above our right leg. Lift our left arm, keep our shoulder down for a moment. We're going to flow through core stability. So lifting our left shoulder, draw our left hand up to the ceiling, and then send our left foot back behind us as our left hand reaches over to the right. And then come back up, and we're going to tuck our foot behind our right knee as we lower our left hand down. Rise up, lifting our shoulders, and reach our hand and leg in the opposite direction. Coming back up, moving with core stability. So everything stabilizes at once. We're not moving anything without moving something else. Flowing with breath, rise up and extend. Rise back up and lower down. Rise up and extend, reaching out through the opposite direction, and come back up and lower down. Continue to flow, lifting and extending. Coming back over the top and lower down. One more time, lift up and extend. Rise back up and lower down. Take a moment to pause here, keeping our left foot behind our right knee. Then lifting our left knee up, lower our left hip back down, bend our right leg, lift our hips, draw them back to center, and we're going to draw our knees into our chest and give them a hug. Lowering our feet down, let's extend our arms out. Lift our hips up, take them over to the right a couple inches. Lowering our left leg by extending our foot forward. I'm going to lift our right foot, and I want you to listen to the core of your body. I want you to keep stability through your spine as you lift your right hip and draw your right knee over to the left. Foot plugs in behind your knee. Right shoulder stays down. It doesn't matter how high you lift your hips. If you can't keep your right shoulder down, don't stress it. The point is listening to our body and finding a place where we can move into rotation with stability. Belly stays hugged in. Taking a moment to soften. Feeling our breath long, slow, and even. Then lift our right leg, let it hover. So knee and ankle are about the same height, but it doesn't have to, it's not pertinent that they're the same height. Just that general direction. Lift our right hand up, lift our right shoulder up, lift our head up. Feel that stability that you hold in this position. Keep as much of that stability as you can as you reach your hand and leg in the opposite direction. Come back up, feel that stability. Lower your right shoulder down, plug your right foot behind your left knee. If you feel tension in the outside of your left hip, bend your left knee. Make any adjustments you need to find comfort. Then on your next inhale, lifting up and extend on your exhale. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, reach. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, reach. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, reach. And come back up and lower. Continue flowing, couple more times. Last one. And hold in our twist. Hugging our belly in a lot. Lift our right knee up. Lowering our right foot down. Bending our left leg. Lift our hips, bring them back to center. Draw our knees into our chest. Give them a hug. Rocking side to side. Feeling your head and your shoulders move with your hips. Coming back to center. Let's slide our hands around to the back of our thighs. Lift our feet up. And then rock up to seated. Don't let our feet touch the ground. Slowly roll down. Slide our hands up our legs. Pause. Rock up to seated. Don't let our feet touch. Lower down. Slide our hands up our legs. Hold. And rise back up. Hovering. Roll down. And roll back up. If you want to make it harder, take your knees wide. Roll down. And roll back up. Rolling down. And roll up. One more time. And cross your ankles. Rise up tall through our spine. Roll our shoulders back and down. Hinge forward from our hips. Lifting our chest up. Fingers touch anywhere that's comfortable for you. Some of you are going to get palms down to the floor. Others maybe have hands on our legs. Maybe you're on fingertips. Really whatever feels good for you. Tipping your pelvis forward like your belly button's trying to reach your leg. Come back up. Switch the cross of your legs. Sitting up tall, pushing your belly button forward. Hinge forward from your hips. Come back up. Lift your legs. Take your feet wide. Plant your feet on the floor. Hands are going to come in front of us. Lower our knees to one side. Rise back up. Lower them to the other. Moving with core stability. Letting your legs rock side to side together. If you run out of room, because you'll find that you walk forward, just scoot yourself back. One more time, each side. And bring our hands down. Let's come up to a standing position in front of our mat. As we find our standing position, feet They're going to be about hip width distance apart, toes point forward to the front of our mat. On our next inhale, let's sweep our hands up. Exhale, hinge forward from our hips and fold. Inhale, lift halfway, flat back. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps back, lunge. Option to lower your knee down to the mat, or if you want something a little more challenging, keep your knee lifted. Front knee stays over the top of your ankle. Rise up tall, reaching our hands up to the ceiling. Taking our hands down and back behind us, press palms together. Option to interlace our fingers. Drive our hands down, squeezing our upper arms towards each other. And then lengthen across our belly, lift our chest up to the ceiling. Think about length more than leaning back. Shoulder blades are hugging in, keeping length through our low back, holding on to that imaginary apple underneath our chin. Notice which thumb you have on top and which index finger you have on top, if you're binding. Bringing our spines back to neutral, bending our elbows, hands come down to the mat. Step our front foot back, plank. Lower all the way down to the mat. Inhale, cobra, opening our heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walking forward in front of our mat. And fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees a lot. Push your knees towards the edge of your toes. Feel that flexion in your ankles. Keep your heels down. Rise all the way up. Find straight legs. Hands come to heart center. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Right foot steps back this time. Option to lower your knee down or keep your heel lifted. Find your front knee over the top of your ankle. Check in that your feet are hip width distance apart. Press your front foot into the mat to rise up, bringing your shoulders over your hips. Hands come behind us, pressing palms together. If you're interlacing, opposite index finger and thumb are on top. Drive your hands down to the floor, squeezing your upper arms towards each other. Notice where your spine is at. Then lengthen across your belly. Lift your chest up to the ceiling. Hold on to that imaginary apple underneath your chin. Staying strong through our hips, our legs. Bringing our spines back to neutral. Bending our elbows, sweep our hands up, and then take our hands down. Step back, plank. Lower all the way down. Cobra, opening our heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walking forward, front of our mat. And fold. Letting our head hang, neck and shoulders relax. Bend our knees, drive our knees right to the edge of our toes, maybe even a little bit beyond. Not a lot though. Keep our heels down. Find our weight balanced to the center of our feet. Rise all the way up. Hands come to heart center. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps back. Turn your toes out to the long edge of your mat. Front knee stays over the top of your ankle. Cartwheel up to reverse warrior. Front hand reaches up to the ceiling. Front knee stays bent. Knee pushes out towards your pinky toe. Back hand relaxes to your back leg. Back leg is straight. Reach your front hand forward. Bend your elbow. Take your forearm to your thigh. Take your top shoulder. Roll it back. From here, take your left hand, reach it up to the ceiling. Side angle pose. If you're feeling tired or a little too challenged today, you can always lower your back knee down to the mat and do the same thing kneeling. From here, rise up, warrior two. Bring your shoulders over your hips, extend your arms out. Straighten your front leg. Keep a micro bend in your front knee. Reach your right hand forward as you push your left hip back. Then drop your hands. Maybe keep sliding if you can keep your chest open. Holding and breathing. Micro bend in that front knee, so no hyperextending. Again, same thing can happen in this pose with kneeling. From here, bend your front knee, cartwheel your hands down to the mat, step back to plank. Lower down. Cobra, opening our heart. Reaching our heart forward, thinking about length as well as lift. Lower down, hug our bellies in, press up and back, downward facing dog. Walk forward, front of our mat, and fold. Let go of our head, our neck, our shoulders. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend our knees, drive them to the edge of our toes. Rise up. Hands come to heart center. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Right foot steps back. Turn our toes out to the long edge of our mat. Find your front knee in line with your toes. Cartwheel your hands up. Left hand reaches up to the ceiling for reverse warrior. Front knee is bent. Back knee can always come down to the mat and stay there. If your back knee is down, your toes are pointed over to the left side of your mat. Lengthening along the side of our body, hips stay level. Take our front hand, reach it forward, hold. Take our forearm or elbow to our thigh, top shoulder, roll it back. We're trying to stack our shoulders so that our front shoulder doesn't lean forward. Take our right hand, reach it up to the ceiling. Make sure that left knee is not collapsing in, but instead pushing out. On our next inhale, come up to warrior two. Arms are about parallel to the floor, hips are fairly level, spine is lengthening. Then straighten our front leg. Make sure you have a micro bend in your front knee. So for those of you that are going to hyperextend, you'll lock it out. So make sure you keep that soft bend. Reach your front hand forward. Lower it down. Lower your right hand to your hip. Feel that right hip push back. Feel that right shoulder roll back. Lower down to what feels good for you. Left hand can stay on your leg. It can be on a block. Let yourself mentally and physically arrive in this pose. Let this be an exploration of self. How do you hold yourself in space? Bend your front knee. Cartwheel your hands down to the floor, pivoting on your back foot. Step back, plank. Lower all the way down. Cobra, opening our heart. Hold on to that cobra. Slide your elbows underneath your shoulders, forearms on the floor for Sphinx pose. Think about length through your low back. Tailbone is gently pressing down. It's not intense, but it is pushing down. It's not lifting up. The length across our belly is a little more obvious than the length that we find in our low back. We're looking for a place we can find smooth curves through our spine rather than sharp angles. For those of you feeling like you're dumping into your low back, think about moving up into your mid back to upper back. Keeping your chin parallel to the floor. If any part of this isn't too intense, slide your forearms out to the side. From this position, tuck your chin. Round your upper back. See if you can create space through your shoulder blades. Lift your belly up off the floor. Doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. We're just going that direction. So our spine is lifting up. Tailbone is still pressing down. Holding and breathing. Finding a lot of strength through our belly. Lowering our belly down, lengthen as we lower. Opening up our heart, maybe lifting our chin up. Think about those natural curves. Taking out any sharp angles that we're building in our spine. Think about reaching your heart forward rather than up. Bringing our chin parallel to the ground. Pull our head back a little bit. Turn our head to the right. And then turn our head to the left. Coming back to the right. And back to the left. One more time to the right. Push your chin back as far as you can go. And back to center and to the left. Back to center. Tuck our chin. Create space between your shoulder blades, pushing your forearms into the floor. Lift your belly. Maybe push your knees into the mat, squeeze your legs together, lift your hips. Holding and breathing. Lowering our hips, lengthen across our belly, reach our heart forward. Press our hands into the floor, kick our elbows out to the side, lower our chest down. Letting our forehead rest onto the floor for a moment. Slide our hands around to the side of our chest, hugging our elbows in tight. Lift our head, find cobra. Turn our gaze over our right shoulder, sliding our right knee in towards our right elbow. Extend our right leg back. Slide our left knee out to the side, drawing our left knee towards our left elbow. Come back to center and to the right. Back to center, to the left. Center, right, one more time. And left one more time. Come back to center. Lower down, hug our bellies in a lot. Press up and back, downward facing dog. Or puppy pose. If you're choosing puppy pose, knees are down, hips are back. Chest is lowering down, opening through the upper body. Walk forward, front of our mat, and fold. Bend our knees, drive them to the edge of our toes, rise all the way up. Hands come to heart center. Releasing our hands to our side. We're gonna step our right foot back, lining up our right toes with the center of our left foot. Make sure our feet are hip width distance apart. So we have our feet a little offset. On our next inhale, let's sweep our hands up. Exhale, sink our hips back, bending our knees, lower down to a place you feel successful. Your right knee can come to the edge of your toes. It can even come a little bit farther if you can keep your weight in the center of your foot. Heel stays down. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend our knees. Feel your right knee driving to the edge of your toes. Take your gaze forward. Feel your back engage. Rise up. Exhale, sink our hips back like you're sitting in a chair. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Let our head hang, neck and shoulders relax. Feel a little deeper stretch to the back of your left thigh. Bending our knees, driving our knees to the edge of our toes. Turning our gaze forward, feel our back engage. Arms come out to the side, rise up. Exhale, sink our hips back. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Rise up halfway. And lower down. Bend our knees. Rise all the way up. Last one, sink our hips back. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend our knees, rise all the way up. Hands come to heart center. Step our right foot forward. Left foot back this time. Toes come to the center of our right foot. Feet are still hip width distance apart. On our next inhale, sweep our hands up. Exhale, sink our hips back. Like you're sitting into a chair. Heart still lifted. Feet should be fairly stable underneath you. Your right foot really is in this position for stability. Most of your weight's going to be in your left leg, but the weight should be in the center of your foot. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Letting our head, neck, and shoulders relax. Feel your tailbone rise up. Lift halfway. And fold. Bend our knees. Rise all the way up. Sink our hips back. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend our knees. Rise all the way up. Sinking our hips back. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Taking a moment to pause. Lift halfway. And fold. Bend our knees. Rise all the way up. Hands come to heart center. Step our left foot forward. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold and hold. Bending our knees. Grab a hold of our block if it's handy. If not, come all the way up, grab a hold of your block. You're going to take your block and you're going to take the narrow end of your block and place it between your legs. You may need to adjust your feet, and that's okay. And I want you to have a firm grip of that block. Then fold, lifting our tailbone up to the ceiling. Let our head hang, neck and shoulders relax. Feel your tailbone rise up. Feel your weight balanced in your feet. You should be squeezing your block. Then I want you to think about rotating your legs to push the block back behind you. As you rotate your legs, lift your toes. You don't have to lift them a lot, but just lift them so they're no longer gripping the mat. Your feet, the four corners of them, stay firm into the mat while the inner arches of your feet are lifting. Now let your toes relax back down. See if you can keep the arches of your feet lifted. Bend your knees, rise all the way up. Notice that transition when you get to the top, that it feels like your inner thighs are trying to push back and your block's trying to push back. See if you can rise up tall through your spine. On our next exhale, soften our knees, sink our hips back, sweep our arms out to the side, lowering all the way down. Push the block back, lift your toes, feel the four corners of your feet firm and the inner arches of your feet lifting. Feeling that stretch to the back of your calves, back of your thighs, maybe through your glutes, maybe even through your low back. Bend your knees, rise all the way up, hands come to heart center. Release the block from between your legs, place it off to the side. And then we're going to come to a seated position in the center of our mat. From our seated position, let's bring the soles of our feet together and let our knees come out wide. Find balance in your hips. Let your hands relax on your legs. Lengthen across your belly, lift your chest, roll your shoulders back. Take your hands behind you. Find fingertips only touching the floor. Lift your chest up. Feel your shoulder blades pull down your back. Just allowing your knees to soften down. Letting go of all effort through your legs. And soften our spine. From here, take your left hand forward towards your feet, center your mat, wherever your hand relaxes naturally. Then pull your right shoulder back to move into a twist to your right. Lift your chest up. Doesn't have to be big movement. Feel your head pull back a little bit. Softening our spine, coming back to center. We're going to take our right hand to the center of our body, foot, mat, wherever it wants to land. Left hand comes behind us. Rise up onto our fingertips. Lengthen across our belly, lift our chest, and twist to the left. Pull our head back. Slowly softening our spine, coming back to center. Hands come to the outside of our knees, lift them up. And then we're going to walk our feet wide, lower our knees over to the right, and hold. Bringing our shoulders back over the top of our hips so we're not leaning forward. If your left hip is feeling tight, lean over to the right a little bit. Our goal to get our weight centered over our hips, maybe have our legs in a 90-90 position. Doesn't have to be, but we're trying to aim for that direction. And then turning our chest towards our right leg. And lengthen across our belly, lift the center of our chest up. Chin stays parallel to the ground as we gently pull our head back. All this can still happen if we're leaning over to the right. Slowly soften our spine to neutral. Twist to the left. Rounding our back, let's walk our hands towards our left shin, knee, further down our thigh, wherever we're at. Lengthening the right side of our body. Slowly unwind as you come back up. Lean over to the right, lift your knees, and take them over to the left. Lowering your right knee down. Look for that 90-90 if you can get there. If not, it's absolutely okay. Maybe you're bending your knees a little bit more. Maybe you're pointing your toes, whatever feels right for you. And our goal is to get our weight balanced over our hips. Again, doesn't mean it's going to happen. Rising up tall through our spine as we turn our chest towards our left leg. Lengthening across our belly, lifting our heart. Gently pull our head back. Softening our spine to neutral. Turn our upper body towards our right leg. Maybe rounding our back, maybe walking our hands towards our right leg in any way that feels successful for us. Slowly rise up, unwind, lean over to the left. So we're leaning away from our right hip. Sweep our right foot forward. And then we're going to come to a seated position at the front of our mat. Grabbing a hold of our towel, we're going to set up for Shavasana. So if you'd like a traditional Shavasana, just simply lie down on your back. If you want more of a heart opener for your Shavasana today, I'm going to give you two options. So first, fold your towel the long way. And then fold it up on the short end. See how it looks like this. Then roll up your towel. If you don't have an extra towel and you have an extra yoga mat, that works as well. So your second option is going to be putting the towel behind you, the width length of your mat. And you're going to place the center of your heart, right behind your heart, on top of the towel. Shoulders and head are going to be touching the floor behind you. If your shoulders cannot make it to the floor, your towel is too thick. You need to unroll it a little bit so that your shoulders can be touching the floor. So if you don't want to do that option today, if that doesn't sound appealing to you, turn it around the other way, line it up to the back of your hip. And you want to be able to have a towel long enough that your head is rested on the towel as well. It doesn't matter if the back of your hips are on it. Matter of fact, going at the low back is a better place to be. And then to your head. So your head all the way down to wherever your towel lands is the best version. So choosing either one of those versions, I'm going to go with the wide width of my mat. And then to lower down, get as close to your mat as you can. You can lower your forearms or your elbows onto your towel and kind of line up your heart so that it's right over the top of your towel. And then slide your elbows out, lower your head and shoulders down to the mat. Let your arms come out wide, palms facing up. And closing your eyes. Take a moment to allow your body to soften into this position. Drawing our awareness back to our body. Keeping our eyes closed, let's begin to invite movement into our hands and our feet, allowing our breath to get a little bit deeper. We expand that movement into our wrists, our ankles, and then bending our knees. If we have a towel underneath our upper back, we're going to begin to bring our elbows to our side and then lift our head and kind of kick the blanket back or come all the way up, whatever version we're in. If we have the towel underneath our spine, same thing applies. Bring your elbows in, press yourself up. For those of you that were lying on your back, just roll over to one side and press yourself up. And keeping our eyes closed so that we can let go of everything else around us and allow our awareness to settle into our body and notice how we feel. Notice how we sit up. Notice if we're holding on to any tension. Notice if we feel any different. Let's just be an opportunity to be present in this moment. If emotions arise in this moment, I want you to just observe them. Just sit with them for a moment. And bringing our hands together in front of our heart, feeling in all that we found in this practice, from the moments that may have been challenging to the moments that were easy, to the moments where you were very mindful on what you were doing, and then the moments where you were distracted. We all have all of those moments. So I want you to notice, how did you handle yourself in those moments? How did you treat yourself? Let that be part of your practice just as much as the movement that you acquired along this journey. Namaste.